Well, now, this is the way to handle your money when you're at your 20s and 30s. And guess what happens when you reach at your 40s? You ain't gonna having any regrets out there. And guess what? You'll be having what we call the financial freedom. That's the reality. Because some of the mistakes or some of the regrets that you have there right now, let's say you're at your 40s or 50s, you wish and say, hey, if you can dare take me back at 20s and 30s, this is exactly what exactly I will do or not do, so that at least I be at secure at 40s. And by the way, if you're happening to watch this video and you're at your 20s and 30s, this is the best time that you can ever do so. All right, so what are these things that you're supposed to do when you're handling your money at your 20s to 30s? And when you hit your 40s, guess what happens? You can actually turn out to be advisors to people on exactly what they're supposed to do. And by the way, guess what? I actually upload a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss out on my good video, do this. It doesn't cost you anything. Down below there is a small button written subscribe. Just hit the magical button and also like the video. By the way, doing that is like telling me thank you for this video. Yeah, I'm actually waiting you to do that so that we can proceed with the video. Yeah. Thank you. Now, let's get to the point. Now, this is the point. Now, when you're at your 20s, obviously to 30s, okay, and let's say at 20s and 30s, this is basically that prime and most productive areas. And guess what? This is when we learn a lot of characters actually out there. If maybe you're a drunkard, probably this is when you learn about drinking. Yeah. And I know that. And a lot of other things, okay? Now, the point is this age, let's say, this is what we usually say. When you're at your, for example, when do you start earning? Let's say at 18 in Kenya, you're regarded as an adult, and so is the case in most of the countries. So at this particular point, you're regarded as an adult. But obviously, you are not working. You're still under your parents' care. And maybe let's say at 21st year, or maybe let's say at 21st birthday, at that particular point, you're starting working. Some do start working before the 21st, around there. Okay, so we can just say approximately at 21. Even at 21, in most of the countries, you're allowed to even drink. Okay. So now that tells you you're ready to face the world. Now, at 21st, there's a time now you start working. Probably you're still under your parents in one way or the other, but at least you can work. You know what it requires you to get. That's kind of a things, okay? Now, when you're at your 20s all the way to 30s, never forget this thing. When you're at your way all the way to 20s or to 30, you're supposed to do what? Try as many things as you can. Try many things. Meaning, at this particular point, guess what you have? You may not have the money, you may not have. There is something that you have that you're never going to have it the rest of your life. You have the luxury of time. You have the luxury of time. Okay? When you have the luxury of time, guess what happens? Because time, obviously, is directly proportional to the amount of money that you make. Well, the point is this. If you have the luxury of time, therefore, it means that you can be able to try as many things as you can. Say one, you try, it fails. You can be able to pick another one and do the thing. I actually feel bad when I see somebody at 22, 23 calling me and telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I have an X amount of money, but I'm worried to invest. Damn, you're not supposed to do that. Fine, okay. I'm not saying that just get into an investment blindly, but at that particular point, you can be able to get into a thing, provided you do what we call the calculated risks. You can be able to go out there and invest on something that can actually either make you successful or at the same time you can learn something. That's a reality. The time will come when you'll be at your 50s or above 50s. You do not have the time to try something. You want to do, see, the more you grow old, the more you tend to, look for that thing that you are damn sure that it's gonna work, because you do not have the luxury of time at your side. So this is exactly what I want you to do as far as handling your money is concerned when you're 20s and 30s. So when you're 20s and 30s, obviously you do not have a lot of things. You barely became an adult. Say you're at 22, 23, 24, you're 5 years old after you became an adult. So you do not have a lot of things in terms of the knowledge of investments. This is when you consume a lot of time learning. And the only way you can have a 60-year-old experience at 20 is when you read the books. That's the reality. That's for a fact. Is when you watch channels like this, when it talks about money, how to invest, you get to learn what are rates, you get to learn what are index funds, you get to learn how exactly or what exactly do you need to start a business. You will get to learn, hey, what is 50, 30, 20% rule as far as the money is concerned? Hey, what do we mean when we say you're supposed to save at least 20% of your income? Hey, what do we mean when we say, hey, we have two organs in our body? We have the brain, we have the heart. And when you subject your money towards the heart, meaning the emotional related point of view, you're gonna consume a lot of money, and that way gonna actually lead to you having regrets in future. But when you become more logical than emotional when it comes to you spending your money, yeah, I know you are young, you barely became an adult, by law you're allowed to drink and you explore and all those kind of things. There is that what we call the self-identity and all those kind of things, but they can ruin your life. How about you do this? As much as you want to enjoy yourself because you're young, how about you hey, how about you go ahead and buy some shares as young as you can? By the time you hit 30, 35, whatever, or something of sort, you have something good. Or by the way, if you don't want that long way of doing it, you can go ahead and start a business. You can start an investment. You can learn a skill that you can monetize, scale it down, and make more money. This time that you can actually decide to stand before a camera, record some videos, upload them, talk to people. There is something that you are a good gamer. You can actually go learn some video editing, some graphic design. You can start some affiliate marketing. You can do digital marketing. There are millions of things that you can do in this era. And I'm telling people nowadays, you do not have to have the common and the traditional way of earning, like having a piece of land nowadays. No, nowadays you can just have an internet in your smartphone and a computer. You're good to go. You can learn a whole of a new skill, and you can actually be spending a lot of most of your time before your computer in your home and make some cash. Okay. Now the point is this: it depends. It depends. Depends with what? With you being consistency, with you assigning a specific time and learning that specific skill. That is the only way you can actually achieve that greatness. Now, what my point is when you're at your 20s and 30s, learn to invest on the knowledge, learn to invest on the understanding, learn to capture greater things out there. As far as, if you hear me, I'm talking about some index fund, get to understand what are index fund. If you hear me talk about rates and I tell you can start with even a thousand Kenyan shillings, how about you spare that 1,000 bob from buying that shoe and invest in that trade? By the time you invest in the year 1, the year 2, you're already an expert in that specific area. You can come here and talk about that specific area. What are rates? Okay, what are these? What are that? For example, there is a lady whom I follow on social media. She's called Angie and Bones, Angie on Bones or something. She's also still on YouTube. She talk about bones and what have you and that kind of things. Okay, so like if you pick one thing, you become an expert on it, then it becomes. And by the way, if you go check up her YouTube channel, just say good Joseph send me here. Angie on Bones on YouTube. Just say good Joseph send me here. All right. So that's it. So what I mean by that is that it is good to make sure that you understand a specific area where you can monetize yourself on that. You can as well scale down that specific activities, put it out there and be able to learn a skill. So the problem is this: when you're at your 20s, you feed on your emotions. When you're at your 20s, you don't even talk about anything. When you're at your 20s, you don't even do anything to do with investments. You want to say that life starts at 30. When you hit 30, life starts at 40. When you hit at 40, you say, I don't care, whatever happens. So when you hit at your 30s now, this is that specific area. You don't need to be told much about things about life. You're already an adult. You know a lot of things. Probably you already have a family, or you're about to have a family, and that specific area, you are stable. You've gone through a lot of things. You've acquired a lot of experiences in terms of investing. If then you've been looking forward into getting them, at this particular point, you've shared a lot of shenanigans. You can actually spend some time in your house. You don't have to go nowhere and spend a lot of time out there and do something about your life. And again, if you realize you have a problem, you cannot manage to do that at 30s. You cannot spend some time a little bit by yourself on the weekend. You have to hang around with some guys. Then you have some problems out there. That's an issue. I mean, seriously, that's an issue. So when you're at your 30s, obviously now you follow somebody. So when you're 20s to 30s, make sure that you try as many things as you can. All right? Try many things as you can. Now, when you're at your 30s to 40s, at this particular point, you need to follow somebody. You need to follow somebody. You do not have much of the things to waste out there. Okay? Now, let's say now you've developed an interest on a certain particular thing. Let's say you've realized, hey, guess what? I'm a good content creator. Let's say you realize, hey, guess what? I don't want things to do with the shares, money market fund, bills, and bonds. I don't want those things. They're actually boring to me. I just want to get into the investments. I mean investment in this sense that I want to get into the businesses. Get somebody who is already in businesses, and specific on the businesses. Let's say you want to get something into, say, production. Maybe let's say you want to get something into maybe the shoe selling or clothing or boutique or beauty industry, or let's say farming or whatever the thing is. Pick an individual who is already good at that particular area. Follow that individual, learn as much as you can from that individual, and don't just learn as you invest. All right, you pick this one, you learn it, and you do so, because time is not on your side and does not wait anybody on here on earth. So you learn as you invest. If you realize somebody is talking about, hey, buying parcels of lands, when you have the capacity to as well value add the property, you can build some rentals, and you have the capacity, do so. If you realize you're not really good when it comes to how much you make at the end of the month, the day, or the week, you do not have a huge chunk of money, but you can try as much as you can. Maybe like you can spare a certain couple of thousands, you can channel that amount of money into buying some bonds, or maybe you can invest into rates or buying some shares, stocks, and what have you. channel that cash. The moment you build that foundation, remember you had a whole window of trying everything that you want. So when you're 30s, you're not trying everything and anything. You're already specializing. You're already equipping yourself with a certain skill. You're already getting the relevant information as far as the investment is concerned. You're already becoming a self-accountability. You're already having a budgeting plan. You already know you need to save a minimum of 20%. You already know the type of an individual. I mean, at 30s, when I see you joking out there, I feel bad. I don't feel like you're doing the right thing. At 30s, you're supposed to be an individual who you're not moved by what the majority are saying. You're moved by your own principles. When you hear people, you see, it's quite weird. Sometimes I receive some calls from guys at 50s. They're telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I'm gonna go for a retire in 2 years time, 3 years time. I want you to show me exactly what can I do. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to be a dependent to my children. I want to invest in that kind of a thing. And then you ask them, have you ever invested? They tell you, no, I have never invested. I know nothing about investment. Now that scares you. All right, it's okay. We try as much as we can and formulate a package that works for you. But if you can avoid all those things by the time you hit that age, that will be the best thing that you can ever do in life. And that is exactly what I will tell you guys. But if you just assume and ignore, and then you wait that older age to come, that the time now you start to think, even though your productivity is always low. So at that is, I expect you to be an individual who you flock with individuals who are already in your level or above your level. That's a reality. So by the time now you clock your 40s, guess what happens on 40s? You ain't trying a lot of things out there. No. You already know what works for you. You are into real estate. That's it. That's you. You got more. You have nothing. You have a lot. You do not have a lot of time to try most of the things. No, you're already in real estate. You're into selling cars. You're already into that. You are actually working online. Say you are a content creator. You're already into that. You are something into beauty industry. You're already into that. You're into farming. You're into. You get what I'm saying? You've already specialized. You do not have time to do. That's why you say from 40 to 50, do the things that you understand. And by the time, if you got it right at 20s and 30s, at 40s, damn. If you're not yet lucky, because I always tell you, success is usually intersection between two things, the hard work and the luck. If you're not still yet lucky, if you're not yet still gotten that jackpot, when I say jackpot, I don't mean like betting and no, I mean like you're not really, at that particular point, but you bear the qualities and the characters of a successful individual. So whenever the money shows up, damn, I'm telling you, the question of being successful is not a question of if, but it's a question of when. That's a reality. There is nothing good and amazing in life when you sit down somewhere and say, hey, guess what? I tried the best that I can. You'll actually even age at a peaceful way. Rather than being somewhere regretting at your 50s, I wasted my life at 20s. I did so at 30s. At 40s, I had nothing to do. I tried as many as I can at 40s. I lost a lot of money. And that's why you see somebody at 40s, when you never equipped yourself in learning the skills, at 40s, money starts to show up. And the moment money starts to show up, because there is another phase that God opens for us, that you become lucky. Money starts to show up at your 40s. You are trying many things. Somebody shows up with an idea. Hey, cryptocurrency is wonderful, it's a great thing. You buy the cryptocurrency. Hey, guess what? The farming is so much good. You get into the farming. Hey, guess what? If you can do this. So you are all over the place. This failed because you didn't equip yourself with the software. You didn't equip yourself with the relevant skills to handle such kind of a windfall in terms of money or success. That is the worst thing that you can ever do. Guess what, guys? That marks the end of my video, but don't forget, you can pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call. Let's have a conversation about investment. For just a cup of coffee's price, I'm able to have a conversation with you. This can happen physically, can happen virtually, however you guys want it. For now, it's a goodbye, but don't forget, like that video and also comment down below telling me what you think, and never forget to like the video and become a member of this channel. For now, it's a goodbye. See ya.